Hello everyone, welcome to English Folio. Today we will be discussing one of the earliest comedies of William Shakespeare, which is the Comedy of Errors. Before we move on to this topic, if you haven't subscribed our channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss our latest updates. So, the Comedy of Errors. It is considered to be one of the most farcical plays written by Shakespeare. It was written during 1590 to 1594. It is believed that Shakespeare borrowed the plot of this play from a Roman play named Menachemi, which was written by Plautus. This play, Menachemi, features a pair of identical twins, sons to a Syracusan merchant. But Shakespeare goes a step further by adding a second set of twins to the plot as servants. The humor in the play mostly comes from slapstick and mistaken identities, and also some puns and wordplay. The first performance of the play took place on 28 December 1594 in Gray's Inn Hall, London. Its written form was first published in 1623. This is one of Shakespeare's shortest play with just 1777 lines in total. It has to be considered that the character of Hamlet alone had around 1400 lines. The Comedy of Errors observes Aristotle's unities of time, place, and action, which means that the story takes place within one day in one location and every incident in the play contributes to the main plot. The only other Shakespearean play which observes the three unities is The Tempest. Now, let's go through the major characters. First, we have Aegeon, a merchant of Syracuse and also the father of the Antipholus twins. Emilia is the wife of Aegeon and also the mother of Antipholus twins. We have two Antipholus in the story. One is Antipholus of Ephesus and the other is Antipholus of Syracuse. They are the twin sons of Aegeon and Emilia. We have another pair of twins named Dromio of Ephesus and Dromio of Syracuse. They are the twin servants of the Antipholus twins. Next we have Solinus, the Duke of Ephesus. Adriana is the wife of Antipholus of Ephesus. Luciana is the sister of Adriana. Angelo is a goldsmith and cotician in the city of Ephesus. We have a merchant named Balthasar and also Dr. Pinch, who is actually a schoolmaster but also an exorcist. Nell is a kitchen maid of Adriana to whom Dromio of Ephesus is engaged with. So, moving on to the plot summary. When the story begins, we are introduced to Aegeon, a merchant of Syracuse, who is apprehended in Ephesus and condemned to death for violating a law that bars commerce and travel between the two cities. So the city of Ephesus and Syracuse are hostile to each other, and any kind of trade or commerce between these two cities is banned. This law was violated by Aegeon, which is why he is now facing a penalty. The only way he can avoid the penalty is to ransom his life for 1,000 marks, a sum he neither has nor has any way of raising. So Solinus, the Duke of Ephesus, asked the old man why he was traveling in the hostile city. And Aegeon responds to it with his sad tale. So here we have a flashback of the life of Aegeon. Over a quarter of century earlier, Aegeon and his wife Emilia became the parents of two twin sons, and they soon followed that by buying another pair of twin boys who was born on the same day to be slaves for their own sons. They named both the sons Antipholus and both the slaves Dromio. In a shipwreck several years later, the family was separated. Aegeon was left with one of the twin sons and one of the slaves. He was rescued by one ship, while his wife and the other two twins were rescued by another ship. 18 years later, after this incident, the Antipholus raised by Aegeon left Syracuse along with his slave Dromio to search for his lost twin brother. When Antipholus and Dromio did not return after 5 years, his aged father set out on his own search, only to be arrested in Ephesus on his way back home. So Duke Solinus is moved by this sad tale of Aegeon and grants him a reprieve. If Aegeon could borrow the money required for his freedom until sunset, he can set him free. Meanwhile, unknown to any other characters, the Antipholus raised by Aegeon, now known as Antipholus of Syracuse, arrives in Ephesus with his slave Dromio of Syracuse. Also unknown to anybody is the fact that the other Antipholus brother is already settled in the city of Ephesus with his wife Adriana and the other slave Dromio of Ephesus. With all the twins in the same city, a series of confusions occur, and this chain of confusions begin when Antipholus of Syracuse meets Dromio of Ephesus on the street and abuses him soundly because the slave tries to get Antipholus to go home with him, but he is obviously the wrong master. Similarly, Adriana takes Antipholus of Syracuse to her home, assuming him to be her husband, and mistakenly locks her real husband outside. At his brother's house, Antipholus of Syracuse falls in love with Luciana, the sister of Adriana. Adriana is shocked by this, as she believes that her husband is now being unfaithful to her. So she hires Dr. Pinch to exorcise the evil spirits working on her husband. Meanwhile, Dromio of Syracuse is shocked to know that he is now engaged to Nell, the kitchen maid of Adriana. At the same time, Antipholus of Ephesus refuses to pay Angelo, the goldsmith, for a gold chain he ordered, thinking he did not receive it. The chain was actually delivered to the other twin. Now, Angelo wants his money, and since Antipholus of Ephesus is not paying the money, he wants him arrested. And the situation grows more and more bewildering, with everyone certain that everyone else is totally mad. The Duke is now preparing for Aegon's impending execution. While he was about to leave, the Antipholus of Ephesus goes to the Duke, thinking himself terribly wronged, and demands the Duke to intercede for him. At the Duke's place, Aegon sees his son and thinks he is saved. But of course, Antipholus of Ephesus is the other twin and hasn't seen his father since he was a child and does not recognize him. Finally, Antipholus and Dromio of Syracuse take refuge in a nearby abbey, only to emerge face to face with the other two twins as well as Aegon, who all at once has found not just one son but two. Thus, the whole family is reunited, and to complete the reunion, the abbess who was running the abbey turns out to be Emilia, the wife of Aegon, who has been living under a disguise all these years. Then, the Antipholus of Ephesus agrees to pay the ransom needed to free Aegon. Thus, the family embraces, as does the Dromio twins, and everything ends in happiness with Emilia inviting all of them to the abbey to discuss this one day's error. Now, let's have a glimpse of the major themes. The first theme we have is of appearances and identity. The comedy of errors results from the confusion of identities of both the Antipholus twins and the Dromio twins. Each one is constantly mixed up with his twin because of his physical appearance, even though they act differently and insist on who they really are. So the play thus shows the folly of making assumptions based on someone's appearance. Secondly, we have the theme of marriage and family. The Comedy of Errors is essentially a play about a family that is split and then reunited at last. The family unit and the bones of familial relationships are crucial to the play. Next important theme we have is of commerce and exchange. Many of the characters in the play are merchants or traders, so the theme of money is important from the beginning till the end. We can see at the starting itself that the life of Aegon is hanging on 1,000 marks. So money acts both as a bondage and also as a redeeming force. Finally, we have the theme of mistakes and coincidences. This play is titled Comedy of Errors for a reason. It is filled with a lot of humorous mistakes and errors. From mistaken identities to mixed up objects to misinterpreted puns, the characters continuously makes mistakes and grows more and more confused as the play progresses. It is precisely this error that allows for the comedy and plot development in the play. Now let's check out some of the quotes from the play. I to the world am like a drop of water, that in the ocean seeks another drop, who fallen there to find his fellow forth, unseen, inquisitive, confounds himself. So this is a quote by Antipholus of Syracuse, who is setting out on his journey to find his lost brother. A man may break a word with you, sir, and words are but wind. I and break it in your face, so he break it not behind. So this is a remark from Antipholus of Ephesus. Moving on, there is an interesting comment from Luciana. Ill deeds is doubled with an evil word. Again, we have a poetical remark from Antipholus of Syracuse, who is in a very confused state because of all the identity clashes. Am I in earth, in heaven, or in hell, sleeping or waking, mad or well advised, known unto these and to myself disguised? I'll say as they say and persevere so, and in this mist are all adventures go. Okay, folks, so that's all about the play Comedy of Errors. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for listening and stay tuned for our next update.